All right. So I'm going to introduce myself since we've never really met.
We
I'm
have not.
with CFH Powerlifting, and I'm really, really excited to sit down and talk to you today. So thank you so much, first off, for doing this. And
I'm excited too. Thank you.
I'm going to let you go ahead and introduce yourself.
Oh man, this is the most awkward part.
No, it's not awkward. It's just us talking.
Okay. So I'm Amber Hansen. I am an equipped and raw power lifter, and I'm out in DC. So I train out at a gym called Unleash Strength. And then I get all my coaching, like my home gym is back in Dayton, Ohio, the Dirty Gym.
The Dirty Gym.
Mm-hmm. It's actually really clean, even though it's called the Dirty Gym.
I love the name. So just tell us a little bit about your background, your daily life, what you do, your career, that kind of stuff.
Okay. So I am in the Air Force. I'm active duty stationed out here in DC, and I do a lot of desk work every day. Right now, I'm sitting as an executive officer for a senior leader. Basically, a lot of admin, a lot of like getting people promoted, writing awards, doing performance reports, calendar work. So it's kind of boring right now, but Air Force is really fun. Love my job. Have gotten to go amazing places and meet incredible people and just have a good time in the military. And then I just really all I do is work and train. I'm super boring. I just, come home. I have 2 little French bulldogs, Bingham and Darwin. So they occupy quite a bit of my time.
And my husband's probably going to be upset that you locked him in,
I'll bring them out. I'll go grab them.
And get to see them. So at some point, yes, we're going to have to bring them out and see them.
Deal.
Thank you so much for your service.
Appreciate that.
Air Force. So we really appreciate that as well. So I guess I'm going to start with the first question that I start with everybody. I ask this question of all the women that I talk to. Most men grew up watching Strongman and, the Arnold, and there were strength magazines on every bookshelf and every newsstand. Not so much for us. We didn't really have that. So when were you introduced to strength sports, and when was that moment that you decided that you wanted to be strong? And you can't say PT because that doesn't count. I mean, PT.
No, that's fine.
PT counts. Don't get me wrong, because I can't do it. But
I mean, running 1.5 miles doesn't really get me excited to be strong. So I won't say PT for sure. So basically they're kind of disjointed a little bit because my intro to powerlifting didn't come like until later in life, but I always knew that I wanted to be strong. I didn't get like excited about World's Strongest Man or anything like that, but I did grow up watching Xena Warrior Princess and like She-Ra, and like those are my girls. So like Lucy Lawless, watching her like kick ass and just be strong and like assertive and like competent in things, like that was really my like, yeah, that's what I want to be like. I want to do that. I want to, be a female leader and, be strong and like mentally and physically. So that was kind of like my childhood intro into, I want to emulate that. And then my dad, he was actually a power lifter in the late 80s, early 90s. And he was like always in my ear, like, let's get in the weight room. Let's go, let's go lift something. Like, I gave you these genetics. I would like you to use them.
Right.
So he was a really big supporter and like always encouraged me to like take up space and like be strong and just do what you like felt good doing. So thanks a lot for that, Dad. I think it worked out. So yeah, that was like my intro into wanting to be strong. And then I finally found powerlifting in 2015 when I walked into the Dirty Gym and was like, oh, what's this? This looks fun. And I was training some of the big 3 with a couple of friends. I played roller derby and I was like, it would be a lot easier to push people around if I was stronger. So let's train that. And then kind of fell into powerlifting from there.
That's awesome. And we're just going to go ahead and get this out of the way because everybody's going to want to talk about it. I'm going to say how I feel, and then we'll talk about it for a little bit. Your bench this week.
Oh, yeah.
Your integrity, your post. I'm not left speechless very often. I like to yap. I am a yapper. Your post left me speechless. So your integrity is what I want to see more in this sport. It's what we need to see more in this sport from everyone, from the men, from the women, from the teens, from everyone. So first, I want to say thank you for having that integrity. Second, thanks for having the guts to go on social media and put that out there, because that takes a lot of guts. It takes a lot of balls. The line where you said you felt like you didn't do your job, just kind of, I just didn't know what to say. That being said, it was an impressive bench. Congratulations. I don't know where it stands. I'm not an open powerlifting stalker. Like open powerlifting stalker. Like I go every week and I look up people's numbers so that I know what I'm looking at for my interviews. But I don't know where all of that stands. But what I wanted to talk to you about was the integrity that you had and the way that you handled yourself through all of it. So I guess talk to me about that a little bit, about how you feel and your thoughts on all of it. And I don't care what anybody else thinks about it. This is everybody else's opinion doesn't matter. This is
that's opinion. Where I'm at too. It was tough. Like I was so excited after we got it. I was pumped. Like Jimmy picked me up and I was like, this is cool. And, we celebrated and everything. And then I finally like came down, got back home, started watching the videos, and I was like, oh, this is going to get murdered. Just not that I necessarily, so there's two sides of like the decision making process there. And I'm like, I could just own it and be like, yep, I saw what everyone else saw. It's still standing. I went and I was like, I don't want to piss off the IPA because I love that federation. I think they're wonderful. And I don't want to be like, you should have given me red. Like if we could all sit and give ourselves reds or whites, then there wouldn't be federations. There wouldn't be judges.
From an IPA chairman standpoint and a judge's standpoint, it's a split second decision.
Mm-hmm.
We don't get to watch a video and decide whether or not we're going to give a red or a white. So yeah, no, you're not going to piss off the IPA. At least not my IPA.
Yeah. Well, that's why I was so thankful that, so I opened up the rule book and I'm like, most rule books have something with all-time world records, like a review of some sort. And there was, and I was like, hey, Fred, Mark, Ellen, can I ask you to like enact this rule for me? I have a bunch of different angles. Will you guys look at it? Like, I'm not feeling great about it. And there was a bunch of contention on it with, did it actually go down? Did it go back towards my face? And they scrubbed through it really well. And I was like, I don't feel good about it. This in my heart still belongs to Katrina. And they were like, nope, like we're sticking with it. It looks good to us, everything. So like, that is absolutely their call. That's why they exist. But I couldn't just like, let it slide and own it. Cause I didn't feel good about it personally. And I think that's what it came down to, is like, I was losing sleep over it. I'm like, oh my God. And we, equipped lifting always gets crapped on.
Yes.
And it sucks. But I do think that like having the microscope on yourself and holding yourself to your own personal standards, in addition to what the federation standards are, is really important to
Right.
show like, just, I mean, you said the word integrity, like that's basically like personal integrity with my own lifts. And I learned that a lot from Jimmy too.
I was just
Cause
going to say, I think it's very hard to train with Jimmy and not have integrity. I think it's hard to spend time with Kate and not have integrity. If you train with Jimmy, if you spend time with Kate and you don't walk away with some sort of integrity, then you're not learning from them. You're not coachable.
Totally agree.
My opinion. And, but, and I haven't gotten to spend a lot of time with them, but, Jimmy has a set of standards for himself and he doesn't waver on those. And so, yeah, I think training with Jimmy, if you walk away and don't have integrity, then you should probably go back and learn a little more from him.
Yeah. I definitely attribute a lot of that mindset to spending the past almost over a year with them. Cause I mean, even he's in the IPA, I believe you're either equipped or you're not equipped. And
Yes.
he is, very proud of his accomplishments, as he should be, in single ply. So he makes sure he takes his shirt off every time he sets a record. And he's like, somebody look at this.
Right.
Yes, it is single ply. Please record it as single ply. So yeah, I definitely learned a lot from them in that aspect, but I just I felt funny about it afterwards and needed to get out my thoughts on it. And I feel better addressing it because, I mean, there's always a microscope on equipped lifting. And you and I know, everyone who does equipped lifting knows how like hard it is and how like stressful, and sometimes it's freaking tough to hit depth. I get it. But like, I never want there to be any question about my lifts, because the only thing that I control is my actions and reactions. And that's basically what this was a product of.
And I think that if more equipped lifters had that same integrity and scrutinized themselves, and I'm not saying that there aren't a ton of them out there, but I think if more equipped lifters scrutinized themselves like that, there's always going to be scrutiny on equipped lifting because, I mean, let's face it, equipped lifting is cheating, right? Like
I can't lift that without the equipment. So
right. Yeah.
The truth.
But it's
still hard, but I can't.
Right. But it's not cheating. Okay.
Yeah.
And if you think it's cheating, go put on a pair of briefs and squat.
That's always what I do.
Put on a pair of briefs and
like,
squat.
I have them. I have a bunch of pairs of briefs. I could find a pair that fits you. Like, just let me show you what it feels like.
Go put on a single ply shirt and touch.
Oh Lord.
The heaviest thing you've ever touched raw. Just touch. That's all I want you to do. Okay. Yeah. I'm going to go off on a rampage. I don't want to do that. But it was very big. It was a very big deal to me. We're trying as CFH, Barry and I, it's important to us that there is integrity in this sport, because our sport has, part of our sport's become a joke, and I don't want it to be that way because it's so important to us. It's such a big part of our lives. And know it's a big part of your life. It's a big part of the lives of all of the women that I talk to. It's a big part of the lives of the men that I'm going to talk to. And, I want people to see that, hey, we really do have a passion. We really aren't out there just taking stuff, just going, oh, well, I'm just going to do this because I can. So I did want to, I don't want to dwell on this the whole interview, but I wanted to say thank you for having the guts, the integrity, the balls, the whatever it is, to scrutinize yourself and to say, hey, listen, I'm not okay with this, and I want to just put it out there. So I think that speaks volumes about who you are as a person, at least in my eyes. So I just
I
wanted
appreciate that. It makes me feel a lot better because, man, I went back and I called so many people the night of the meet just to be like, what would you do? Like, people who have all-time world records, like, what if this happened to you? And it was kind of like 50-50, like, no, own that shit. Like, they gave you whites, you're good. And then the other half was like, look at the videos. And I'm like, okay, at the end of the day, I needed to do what was going to make me feel better. And like, that's just more of like fire and fuel for me. Like, 6:15 wasn't even the plan. That was the opener. I missed it twice. And then like we were looking at 650 plus. So, I mean, it's just more like fuel for the next time to come back and get something even bigger and do it nicely and cleanly and without question.
right. And at the end of the day, I mean, you have to be able to sleep at night, and you have to be able to look
Mm-hmm.
up in the morning and know that you at least did, what made you feel good about it. So
Yes, exactly.
we're done with that elephant in the room.
We're done.
He's gone. He's out. So all of that being said, how do you feel about the sport right now and its progression of female lifters in general?
It is an exciting time. That is for sure. Like, the women are just absolute powerhouses in this sport on all like aspects of it. Raw with wraps, equipped, single ply, like tested, untested. It's amazing what these women are doing and can accomplish in the sport. Like, just driving those rankings and those records up, filling out full multiple day meets of just female lifters. Like, that is freaking cool. It is really cool to see. It's really cool to be a part of. And like, it's not slowing down anytime soon. Like, when I first got in, like, it was picking up in like 2016, 2015. Like, there were, decent amounts of competitors at the local level, which was really cool to see. And then now it's like full flights. These like big money meets have entire female days at them. Like, the Showdown had a female day, like, and like main cards, the WPO has its own day with just females. Like, it's amazing to see the accomplishments of these women.
That's awesome. So you've done 20 meets.
Oh my God, it's been 20.
You've done 20 meets.
Lord.
You have taken first place in 15 of those meets. And this is, I'm not including this last meet because it's not on open powerlifting, so it's not real, is what my husband said.
That's true.
But it actually hasn't been put up yet. And, that with the scrutiny and not being sure where you stood on it, I didn't want to include that in factual numbers and all of that. So 20 meets, 15 first place. Your best squat is 766. Your best bench is 435. Your best deadlift is 556 with a total of 1753 is your best total. I don't know if those numbers total 1753. What I'm saying is your best total is 1753. So do you remember that first meet?
The first equipped meet?
Or, okay, so let's do that. What's your most memorable meet? And was it equipped or raw?
This is going to be corny, but the first time I did the women's pro-am, that is absolutely my most memorable meet. I have no idea what my numbers were. It was equipped, but that one was just like an eye opener for me of like, okay, this is how I should feel at a meet. I should be this excited. There should be like this much amp, like platform is like going crazy. Just like amazing energy in that meet. Like, all of my friends are there lifting weights together. Like, it was a big reunion. And yeah, the first time I did the women's pro-am was probably the most memorable.
My number cruncher over here said it was in 2019 and you totaled 1370.
Okay. Thank you.
He
I
loves
had no
numbers.
idea.
He loves numbers. Who are some of your favorite power lifters, both male and female? Who do you enjoy
Oh,
watching?
I have a freaking long list of those. So on the male side, let me see. I mean, past and present, if we're going off of that, like Donnie Thompson, one of my favorite humans ever. Super cool, amazing to watch his stuff, and then doing like incredible things right now for the sport with all of like his creative ideas and inventions and everything. Danny Tinajero. What's that?
He's like a mad scientist.
I know, it's so cool. Yeah. Danny Tinajero is another one that I really look up to and think is like awesome. He does it all. He does raw equipped, and he's like really smart about it and very smart about recovery, and like always preaches like athletic baseline and then be a power lifter. Anthony Oliveira, Chad Penson, there's a lot of guys. And then the women, but that list is even longer. Tamara Walcott, I don't know if you've seen all her stuff. She's been on Ellen. She's been on like Good Morning America. She recently just set the highest deadlift record raw ever. I think 636 was her number. And she's super inspiring. I'd be remiss if I did not say Miss Bekah Swanson, my girl.
So have you heard my funny Bekah Swanson story? I don't
know. I would love to.
Oh my God.
Let's go.
So I'll embarrass myself with this story again. So Bekah and I have been friends on Facebook for years. Obviously I can't lift anymore. I don't know. I've been sick for a while now, and my lifting days are behind me for the foreseeable future, which is why I am running meets and doing these interviews and everything and trying to stay active in the sport because I do love it. I just can't do my favorite part of it. But when I was lifting, she was my go-to girl. Like, she was my friend on Facebook, and, I would send her messages and ask her questions. And we just talked about life in general. Like, she was just one of my best friends. So when we decided to start our team here in Texas, all of our, well, with the exception of with the exception of Scott Nutter and Rachel Nutter, all of our team is here in Texas. Now, granted, we're spread out all over Texas. It's a big state, but our entire team is here in Texas. But I told Barry that I wanted to add my friend to our team. I was like, she doesn't live here, but she would be a great asset. She'd be somebody that we can, ask, kind of a, what was the word I used? Just
resource
consultant.
Yeah, just a resource.
Now, this whole time, she has no idea who Bekah Swanson is.
I haven't gotten to that part yet. So he's like, yeah, that's fine. He's like, what's her? I was like, he's like, who is it? I was like, I said, it's just a friend of mine on Facebook. He's like, okay, but what's her name? And I said, Bekah. And he looks at me. He's like, Bekah, what? I said, hold on, let me look. So I was like, oh, Bekah Swanson. And we were at his office, and I thought he was going to fall down on the floor, and he just looks at me and he's like, honey, do you know who Bekah Swanson is? And I was like, well,
yes, my friend on Facebook.
Friend on Facebook. Those were my exact words. Like, yeah, she's my friend on Facebook. He was like, honey, she's the strongest woman ever. I was like, oh, that's really cool. Like, my brain still had not clicked with it. He was like, do you remember the documentary that we watched? And he starts, I was like, yeah. He's like, that was her. I was like, oh. So I sent her a text.
Right.
I was like, so apparently I had no idea that you were the strongest woman in the world. And then she was like, oh, well, now I love you even more. But like, it was just really funny. And it was like, so that's my embarrassing story, but
that's so funny.
with me being sick and like, this just happened, what, a month or two ago. I was
Yeah,
having
we're
a
going to
really,
the team. She might be a bit of a resource. Maybe.
she might be a good resource. Maybe.
Yeah, I think so. She's
She's
value added.
yeah, right. Like she's so good to me because like a few months ago I was waiting
Talk
to
about
have
bicep curls and amino acids.
shut up. I was having a really rough day. I was actually at the hospital waiting to have like just some outpatient tests run. And I was just having like that total pity party day. Like I'm feeling like crap. I don't feel good. And my phone went off. And so I looked down at it and there's just a message that says, and I'm not going to say it out loud because my dad will watch this and then he'll call me and he'll yell at me because I said the word. So it says, I effing love you. And I thought, what? How can I like have a pity party when I have friends like Bekah Swanson, like the strongest woman in the world, who just randomly out of nowhere, she had no idea I was at the hospital having tests run, just out of nowhere sends me a message telling me how much she loves me. It's like, yeah, okay, pity party over. Yeah,
That's so cool.
Absolutely my girl.
She's wonderful. Yeah, she's like really good with timing those messages too. Cause like I'll get them randomly and I'll be like, damn, that's really cool.
No,
like
that's not your
I effing love you back.
That's not my favorite story. So my favorite story. Hi.
Very.
So this kind of gets down a rabbit hole a little bit, but
That's fine. Let's do it.
We pay cash for everything up front.
Oh,
so and we have 3 teenagers. So things get a little rough. So sometimes get tight. We're never broke, but we have to manage frivolous expenses. And she was just kind of having one of those days where we were tapped out, and like the only thing that my Bekah does to relax is typically go get her nails done. And all of a sudden she's at my office and about to have a little bit of a meltdown, and she gets a message on her phone, totally random, and it's Bekah Swanson. And she has just sent like $60 or something in PayPal to Bekah to go get her nails done and just take a few minutes. And like, we've never met this woman before. Unfortunately, I've never had the privilege of meeting her. And, you know, here she is. So
that's so sweet.
That's my favorite Bekah story.
What a absolute just gem. That warms my freaking heart.
Yeah, she does take very good care of me, and she doesn't even realize that she's doing it when she does it. She's just an amazing human being.
Yes.
Just amazing. So anyway, all right. So
we love Bekah.
We do. Like
both Bekahs.
Oh, thank you. I'm just glad I have the same name as her. I'm like,
yeah, that's a good namesake right there.
She's my girl. I love her. So anyway, not after Bekah, who are some of your other?
The queen bee herself, Laura Phelps Stackhouse now. She's incredible, like amazing ambassador for the sport, puts on the pro-am. Who else?
And so humble.
Yes, so
like,
humble,
so down to earth. Like I met her at our meet in July. It was the first time I'd ever met her, and just like she's just so happy to be a part of the sport. Like okay.
Incredible contributor to the sport. It's like
God, yes.
Yeah, like all the ladies at the sweatshop can really be added to that list for me. Like Leah's incredible. Tara Duncan's not at the sweatshop. She trains down like all the ladies of the main event project. Allison Hind, amazing. On the raw side, Kirsten Skurlock, Casey Romero, Karina Davis, like those women are just incredible and so fun to watch. Like watching a lot of them lift is like, I don't know, just entertaining, and like it just gets you freaking fired up. It's so cool. It's very cool.
It really is fun to watch the women lift. I mean, Barry and I have said that before, like the women's day or the women's flight or whatever, like it's fun to watch. women are so encouraging of each other.
Yeah. I've
So-
never had a bad experience in a warm-up room at all. And I think it's like a cool, like mini community to be in. And like the women, they're like, hey, what do you need on the bar? Like, I got you. Or,
Yeah.
oh, you need some baby powder? Here's some baby powder. That's just how it goes in any warm-up room I've ever been in with all women. It's really cool.
Yeah, it reminds me of a bunch of moms at a mom group who, oh, you gonna watch your kid for a minute so you can go use the restroom? Sure, yeah, I got it, no problem.
Yep.
Yeah, like that's kind of the mentality that in the warm-up room as well. I'm sorry, honey, what were you gonna say?
Very good. So men have a fetish that it needs to be discussed in an open forum. So we need to just get it out in the open. For some reason, men, they feel the need to impress other men with their openers. And they take, so when I'm trying to figure out my opener, generally it's a number that I could hit for 5 any day of the week. It's about 80%, give or take.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know what it is about men when they're figuring out their opener, they figure out their best gym max on their best day and they add 5%. And we see these grinders of a first attempt, and generally speaking, women don't bomb out. And it's, of course it's happened, but it's more consistent. It's more entertaining. It's not entertaining to watch somebody go up and barely get their opener.
Mm-hmm.
More fun to watch them smoke it and come out and smoke the second one. And then that there's a reason there's 3 attempts and not 1. You're not
exactly
with your first one. And we don't talk about it. Men don't want to talk about it. I don't know what it is, but that's their weird fetish. They like to impress other men with opening numbers that nobody cares about.
Yeah, that's wild. I've never heard of openers winning anything other than getting you in the meet. Well, I could be wrong there, but
if you're lucky. And a lot of men can't even get into the meet because of that opener.
yeah, that's just like waste of time and money and just like go in.
Energy.
And it's like a new equipment that you've probably never used. There's just so many unknowns. Like, why would you want to risk that in your opener?
Yeah,
like it matters where you end, not where you start.
Set this massive deadlift opener, again, based on the best they've ever done in the gym, plus 5%, knowing full well that they've never trained squat and deadlift in the same training session.
And they're already exhausted.
Yeah. So
it's 8 hours later.
Yeah, it's just.
Yeah, like our general rule of thumb, like with Trent, is I want you to be able to, like, your opener should be something that you could rep with 102 fever on the sickest day that you've ever been in your life. That's your opener.
Get you in the meet. That's its only purpose, is to get you in the meet.
Trent typically opens with his raw max, but so you just go in with that opener, hit it, and get in the meet, and then go for broke. Like opener.
That's what thirds are for.
Yeah, opener should be something you can hit every day of the week. Your second one should be a PR, and your third one should be balls to the wall, man. Like.
Women are much more entertaining to watch because they work those numbers.
Yeah, he said women are much more entertaining to watch because they work those. And I agree. Like, I love to watch the women's, and it's not just because I'm a girl. Like, I enjoy watching women's powerlifting.
Yeah. Like that, the Women's Day of the WPO was so exciting because there were like, I think the top 4 or 5 of us were like going back and forth all day with the exception of Deanna. And just like, well, even at the beginning, going back and forth with like, who's going to place here, and like gaming numbers and like making last minute decisions and like having plans. I think that's like a big thing on the women's side. There just seems to be less ego involved. So, yes. I mean, take that with a grain of salt. Not every dude has an ego. Like, I get that. But like, as a whole, it's just a lot more conservative at the beginning and then planned out to be something like big.
Yeah. Women have a lot more empathy and compassion just in general. So it's not that the men don't want to see other men succeed. It's just in a woman's nature to want to see other women succeed. It's not that I don't want to listen. It's not that I don't want to win. It's that I want to see you succeed as well.
Mhm.
So
Oh,
yeah.
yeah. I love watching my friends win. I think it's freaking cool because I know how hard they work and I know like what goes into it firsthand because I'm doing the same thing. And like seeing one of them, like watching Tamara Dove Walcott hit that 636 was probably one of the most emotional like meets I've ever been at or like lifts I've ever seen in person. Cause like she worked her ass off for that. Like, and just to see it happen, it was incredible. And yeah, we're in the same weight class. We compete against each other. Like it doesn't matter though. Like it was so freaking cool.
Another really exciting thing for me too is to watch the men that support the women that are lifting. Like you said, Jimmy picked you up. Like to me, that's so exciting. And there was a moment, and Rayanne and I talked about this when I interviewed her, when Rayanne beat Bekah's number at mine and Rob's meet in July. There was a moment after, so she got the 3 white lights. She had her celebration, and there was a moment that I can promise you there may have only been 2 or 3 other people in the building that even noticed it, but I saw excuse me, I saw it, and I was like, that's why I do this. That's why I watch this. As they walked off the platform, as she turned to walk off the platform, Jeff smacked her on her butt. And I was like, that's what Barry would do to me. That would be that's my girl. My girl did that. I'm proud of you. I'm, just that.
He was with her every step of the way,
Yeah,
helped her along,
just that
supported her to get that.
the celebration's over. I'm still right here behind you. I got you. And when I saw that, and Jeff and Rayanne and I were all 3 kind of on the call together, and like it brought tears to my eyes, because I thought, like, to me, that's so exciting to watch the men that support the women as well. Because it's just, there's so many women that don't have that support too.
Yep.
And it doesn't matter whether it's a husband or a coach or both, or it's just it's so much fun.
Yeah, it's a blast.
It really is. So so what are some of I know you said you work a lot and you train a lot. What are some of your other hobbies, if you have any?
So aside from lifting and working, I don't do it as much as I used to do it, unfortunately, but I do like skating. So I'll go and put my roller skates on and go to the skate park and like just mess around on ramps, like a little mini or something, like work on some tricks. That's always been very fun for me. Like I had a group of friends out in New Mexico when I was stationed there, and we just found this little skate park on base and just started doing it together. We played derby together, and then we were like, let's go to the skate park. And that turned into something that like I could do on my own time, and I wasn't competing for anything with it. I could just go and have fun and like get better and like have a good time with friends. So that's pretty much it. And then the doggies take up a decent amount of time. So like walks for them, like playing with them and all that good stuff.
What are some fun facts that people might not know about you? I mean, obviously the roller derby is something that nobody probably knew until today.
Yeah.
Unless they're close to you, but any other fun facts that people might not know?
I had to think on this one when you sent me these, and I think I wrote down roller derby, but we already discussed that. It's like sport related. I grew up figure skating, so that's kind of where the roller skating came into play later in life. But I competed in figure skating, so like the very pretty like ballet type of thing, and then quickly got out of that because that sport is really expensive. And my mom was like, I can't do this. I'm a single mom. This is like ice time is insane. And I was really bummed for a while, but then, picked up some other sports and quickly filled the void.
That's awesome. So any advice to younger lifters, or just lifters in general? What's the best advice that you would give them?
Yeah. So one of my like biggest joys of powerlifting is I've recently started coaching people this past year, 2 years, and like seeing them progress and being able to like help them on the mental side of things has been really rewarding for me. One of the things I always tell them is like, they want to go so fast. They want it tomorrow. They want instant gratification. They're like, okay, what do I have to do to like make this number happen? And just like constantly harping patience with them because it takes a lot of time to develop strength and it doesn't happen overnight. And usually the things that are going to develop your strength the fastest are like not your main movers. Those are like, it's your supplementals and accessories. And a lot of people sandbag the crap out of those. And they're like, why have I plateaued? And I'm like, well, you have these other movements in there for a reason to help your main lifts get better. So don't slack on your accessories and assistance movements. Have patience. What else? Just like the feeling of like, it's hard to like manufacture your own confidence when you start out, but if possible, like you can step into an environment that will help you with that. Like finding a powerlifting gym, finding a coach, finding that group of people, like people that I have at the Dirty Gym, the people that I, kind of just weaseled my way into over at Jimmy's Gym and Unleashed. Like having that environment is so important because you're going to try things that you probably didn't think that you would ever like choose on your own or didn't think was possible because you have that like support and you have like the confidence that they build in for you. So like just find your people, basically. Like try and find your people, because starting off alone, like people do it and it's totally doable, but it's typically a lot slower of like an integration process if you do it that way.
I think that's about all the questions that I really had for you. Is there anything that you want to add or anything else that you wanted to talk about that we haven't covered?
Main event project's going pretty strong. I know you've gotten a chance to talk to all three of the others. So that might be a little like beating a dead horse, but
No, not at all. Not at all.
but yeah, it's really cool. We're starting to see people get their t-shirts in the mail and like rocking them at places. And like, I want to extend our appreciation to you guys for being so like open and accommodating to the things like changes. I mean, you guys probably didn't need to change really anything that you were already doing, but like just supportive of the things that we're trying to push and like basically like raise the level. Like there is this standard. We want people who are below the standard to come up to that standard so that everyone has a good time and is supported.
Right.
So yeah, thank you guys for that.
Well, you are welcome. Yeah, I mean, we really, the only thing that we've changed for us is the weight classes. I mean, we've always run ours. If a guy wins a bench shirt, a girl wins a bench shirt. If we've I don't know that we've ever had.
The whole main event project was kind of bizarre in the beginning because we didn't know that there was a need for it.
Yeah.
Like,
we had no idea that there was a need because we were like, aren't people already doing that? Because that's how we do it. Isn't that the way it's supposed to be done?
Yeah.
So yeah, it was very bizarre for us in the beginning because I'm like, wait, hold on.
We did teach ourselves how to run a meet.
Yeah, we did. We are self-taught. I sat, our very first meet, what was it like? I think 3 weeks, well, maybe a little more. I sat with Wes Zunker and watched him run an XPC meet at a little local gym here. And that was the only experience I had before I ran my very first meet.
Holy cow.
I taught myself how to run a meet other than, you know, with Wes's help. And our first meet was at Wes's gym, thank God, because otherwise I don't
They
know.
may not know who Wes Zunker is.
Wes Zunker owns Texas Strength Systems.
Mhm.
And
I've been down there a couple of times. I don't know. I don't think he and I have met in person, but I've been to TSS.
yeah, so if it were not for him, I have no idea how that first meet would have gone, but it went off without a hitch. And you know, luckily, but yeah, so we're self-taught. Between Wes at TSS and Kevin at Anderson Powerlifting, if it
Mhm.
weren't for those two, I don't know that we would have ever been able to run a meet. The two of them have taught me everything, any question I've ever had, they've answered for me.
Well, when William
So,
hooked us up with Titan right out of the gate,
and
in
then,
men's and women's.
you know, William Lee is Barry's best friend, but he's also a Titan sponsored athlete. So he hooked us up with Titan. And yeah, right out of
Nice.
the gate, it was, okay, what do you need? All right, well, we need best male, best female. Because isn't that the way it's supposed to be done? Best male, but we got men competing and we've got women competing. So we need
Mhm.
one for each, you know. We need best male raw, best male equipped, best female raw, best female equipped. And so, you know, so for we didn't know people weren't doing that. So for us,
Mhm.
the main event project was, we were like, why
Yeah.
are people not doing this?
Yeah.
What the
Before I
problem is?
met and talked with Tara and Allison and Leah, like I had that same mentality. Like I've had a really great upbringing in powerlifting. I've had nothing but supportive environments and like the best teachers and coaches and like awesome meets, and like that list of 20, like every one of those was great with the exception of maybe like one or two. Um, but like they were telling me some of these stories, and then we'll get DMs randomly to the main event project page of like, hey, this happened. And we're like, are you serious?
Well,
Like that's insane.
we're not
It's
going to go down
2021.
the list of DMs that we've gotten since we
Lord.
left our old federation and went to the new federation, where
we had no
we
idea.
had no idea how terribly how terribly women were being treated.
Mhm.
And
That's
I'm
another
thankful.
piece of it too, is those things, those stories that don't get told. I think the mere existence of the main event project showing that we are like, we see you, we see the stuff that is happening, and like someone, not necessarily like we're not like watchdogs or anything, but it's a mechanism for accountability.
Well, and let's face it, men and women both should not be afraid to tell their story.
Yes, correct.
Nobody should be afraid to tell their story.
Mhm.
And that doesn't mean you have to blast it on social media, but
No.
you shouldn't be afraid to tell your story to somebody, because somebody will do something about it.
Your story was told alive by people who weren't even there.
Yeah, my story was actually called, I was actually, so someone who wasn't even there sat down at a meeting at a gym here in Texas with another meet director slash state chair for a different federation, and said that I was lying, that I had blown
Lord.
everything out of proportion, that I made it a much bigger deal than what it actually was, and that I was just kind of looking for attention. And my rebuttal was just simply, you weren't there. You weren't even in the state, much less at the meet. You don't get to speak about my story. So, you know, with that being said, I do understand why people don't come forward with their story.
Yeah,
but
it gets twisted and manipulated. And
yeah, you shouldn't be afraid to. This is my story. It's mine.
Yeah. And
Regardless,
how
mine.
hard would it have been to come to you directly and been like, hey, I have an issue with this situation?
So the reason that I even found out that all of that was said was one of the people that was at that meet left the meet, or the meeting.
The other meet director.
The other meet director, who's, you know, it wasn't the gym owner, it was the other meet director, left the meeting, picked up the phone and called me and said, hey, this is what was said. I need to know what's going on, you know,
Get the
and
ground truth.
absolutely. So, you know, and that's just it. Like, go straight to the source. Just go straight to the source. So I love that the main event is giving people a place to go and say, you know, hey, this happened to me, because we had the same thing. We have women coming to us saying, oh yeah, like this is totally how I was treated, or, you know, this happened to me, or, and men as well. You know,
Yeah, it's
there are
not
men
just
as
women.
well. Yeah.
That's why one of my biggest things, and this is something I learned, Bekah Marhefka, he puts on WRPF meets out in Las Vegas, like top tier raw lifter. He's like, choose your meet directors, not federations. If you look on that list of my 20 meets, it's all over the place with federations. Like, choose meet directors over federations, because there are personalities every which way, where like you don't really know exactly what you're going to get. It just depends, and you just have to be careful. And that's why we do the, like, people kind of have crapped a little bit on the, well, I don't need a stamp of approval for my meet. I'm like, no, you don't. But we want to point people in the right direction of where they're going to have a good experience, so they want to stick around in the sport.
Right. Right. Yep.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I definitely agree with choose your meet director, that it makes all the difference. It makes all the difference in the world. Had I not learned from such an amazing meet director, I have no idea where I probably would be doing this anymore. I probably would have just thrown my hands up and went, yeah, I'm not doing this, because it's not an easy job.
We'd have followed in the others, and we wouldn't be able to lift. We'd be alcoholics.
Yeah, we would have just totally bombed out. So I'm glad that we learned from Wes. I'm glad that he provided his guidance and, you know, welcomed us in and took us in and showed us how to do it, what to do. And I mean, I can't say enough good things about Kevin Pittman.
That's so cool. Yeah, Kevin's wonderful.
They don't make people like Kevin Pittman. And I can say with 100% certainty that if it weren't for Kevin, Barry and I wouldn't even be in the sport anymore. Just in general, we would have left. But we certainly wouldn't be where we are without him, without his guidance, without his friendship, without his tutelage. You know, he's family to us now, but you know, it didn't start that way. He just started as a guy who ran a company who we had questions for. And he's just
turned into a mentor. That's really cool.
Yes, absolutely. So anyway, I'm going to let you get off of here and get back to your day. I appreciate you so much. Please tell Jimmy and Kate we said hi, and I look forward to seeing all of you guys soon, hopefully. Yes, in July. You guys should all be in Erie in July.
Okay. I'll get you with details.
I will. I will. I'll get you more
July. Okay. Heck yeah.
But I really do want you to know that I know how valuable your time is. And so for you to take time out of your day and your life to sit down with me means a lot to me. And I truly appreciate you doing this.
Well, back at you. I appreciate you just like wanting to do that. I think this is so important to like get stories out there, and you see the Instagram posts and whatever, but like getting to actually know some of these lifters, like some of the other interviews you did, like I just knew them from afar on social media. And then I learned so many interesting facts and things about them. And I'm like, that's really cool. Like, I think they're even cooler now.
Yeah.
So it's a cool thing you're doing.
It's fun to put a voice and a personality to you. You can't get a personality. You can't put a personality on a post.
Mhm.
it's like trying to put emphasis on a text message. You just can't do it. So,
Yep.
but no, I
Cool.
appreciate you, and keep doing what you're doing, and know that if you need anything, CFH is here to help you in any way.
Woo.
We're here to support you and do anything that you need.
Cool. Well, thank you so much.
It
Bye,
was
Barry.
great talking to you. She said, bye, Barry.
Bye.
Mhm. I will talk to you soon.
Okay,
All
bye-bye.
right. Bye.